is a lot harder to do than I thought. Hello friends! Sorry it's been a hot minute since I made a last video. I couldn't believe when I went on my YouTube channel today how long it's been, so I apologize for that, but I'm back. I've got tons of ideas, including today, which is one of the best tips I have to improve your photography instantly. And this video is for beginners, so if you're more advanced, you can click away, I won't be offended. So I get asked a lot from beginners, like, what's one tip you have for beginners, or where do I start, or what do I need to do? And one of my first tips for beginners is to know light. Study light, know how to use it to your advantage, manipulate it to get the look you want. So I have a tool for you that's going to help you get started with all that. It's inexpensive and it's amazing. And it is known as the reflector. So if you haven't heard of a reflector or don't use one, you need to use one. If you haven't heard of a reflector before, it's basically used to fill in shadows. So I have a Westcott 50-inch 5-in-1, and it's only like 50 bucks. I went on Amazon and got it. But I'll put a link down below where you can get one. There's a lot of places that have good ones. This thing is huge, so I'm going to try to fold it. Ooh. If you don't have a lot of studio light or you're a natural based photographer, and even if you use studio lights, this is a good fill card is what they call, and that's what you're doing. You're filling in the shadows. There's nothing more unflattering than really harsh shadows like underneath the chin, underneath the eyes, unless you're like into fashion photography or fitness. They have to show muscles and different things. You can get away with a little bit harsher shadows, but in general for portrait photography, you want those, especially on women, you want soft shadows. Sometimes it's a little bit flatter light. You want some contrast, but when it's too much, then people will be like, it just shows amateur. Some people look at photos and they don't understand why it doesn't look good, but they just know it doesn't look professional. You don't have to get as big as mine, but obviously the bigger the light, the more it's going to wrap around your subject and fill in more shadows. And I use this all the time. I won't go on a single shoot without it. Sometimes this is a 5-in-1. I prefer the white side just because I love neutral light. I'm sorry, I'm hitting the tripod because this thing is ginormous. So it's shaking the camera a little bit. But I always prefer the white side. It's cleaner light, neutral, always gives me good, no color cast. There is also a gold side if you want to get fancy. I hardly ever use this. Sometimes at sunset if I'm at the water, it gives it a really nice glow. There is a black side, and so I can flip this inside out, and then I'll use it to block light. So if I have like no shade, no tree, nothing to put my subject under, and it is just harsh light beating down on them, I will flip it to the black side and I'll just hold it up on top of them, or have an assistant hold it up on top of them, and it puts them in complete full shade, which is really flattering. And there is also a silver side, which I've never used, but some people like it. And there's also this, which is a diffuser, which is also where if you wanted some of the light coming in and just blocks, not completely black it out, then you just take this completely off, and then you can use the diffuser, which is really nice. So if you're gonna invest in a reflector, I recommend a 5-in-1 just because you have so much versatility and it's just more use for your money. But you can get just a white card, and if you absolutely have no money and you're like, Michelle, I'm broke, I can't even afford 50 bucks. Then just get a cardboard and paint it white or paint it really neutral gray, and then hold that up under your subject, and that's going to reflect light beautifully too. But reflectors really are a good investment. Plus when you're on a shoot, it just looks more professional, and if you don't have lights, it's just better. What I usually do is the sun will be behind the subject, so backlit, and then I'll put this in front of them and it'll bounce. So if the sun's here behind it, it's going to bounce light back into the subject. And you always want to put it on the opposite side, or where the sun's coming in, because it's going to bounce it in. And another tip I want to say about reflectors is I always use it. Even when it's cloudy, I'll always put the reflector on the white side in front of the subject, because even if you don't feel like there's any light bouncing in, it'll at least put a fake catch light into their eyes. It'll bounce that white circle and it'll just make them look bright and awake, and then you don't have to do anything in Photoshop, and you just instantly, you have to have catch lights in people's eyes to make them feel alive, because nothing worse than just black holes in someone's eyes. So even if you don't feel like there's harsh shadows on their face, always put some kind of white card or fill card or reflector in front of them, and it kind of tricks the eye and just pops that white in there, and it just makes them look so beautiful, and it makes you look like you know what you're doing. So always use a reflector. Alright guys, I'm not going to ramble on this one. I've got amazing things in store and I hope you enjoyed my quick tip. If you have questions about reflectors or you want to see me use it in action, just please leave comments below and I'll be happy to do that. Bye guys. Alright, another quick question I wanted to ask you guys. I've been toying around with the idea, because I get questions about it, to offer online mentoring sessions. So that is one-on-one Skype sessions with me, photo critiques, tips and tricks that I've learned in the trade, specific questions you want to ask me, and my undivided attention. If that's something you'd be interested in, I'll put it at an affordable price. Let me know, yay or nay, in the box below, and I'll see if I can get that online training for you.